Better on Draft podcast is recorded live in Royal Oak, Michigan. Now, pop that 40 and kick back with your hosts, Dan, Nick, Ken, Rob, Matt, and Angela.
And we are live, episode 120 of the Better on Draft podcast. My name is Ken.
So hold on. It's episode 120, and we poorly prepared this.
Should we
What's
done
episode?
What are we supposed to do different?
I think
Should
he's
we
trying to be
put
like
a dogfish
340s.
Oh,
Not 340s. A dogfish head?
Dogfish head 120.
Oh, I didn't.
whatever.
That went over everyone's head.
Yeah, went over everyone's head. That's all right.
It wouldn't have worked out anyway.
So anyways, not that we're talking about Dogfish Head here. Let's talk about good beer.
Dogfish head.
Shots fired over there. We got a full studio here today. It's
gonna get hot in here.
So let's
Everyone knew I was coming.
everyone knew Dan was going to be here. Well, Dan, how are you? You're
Oh,
here.
hey, what's up? I'm here.
You're here. How is Arizona?
Better than here, man. It's cold up here.
It
What's going on?
is. It is.
Should have been here yesterday and the day before.
No, why? Because it was 82 when I left home. So why?
Yeah, I guess
What
so.
did I miss?
We had like 50 yesterday. It was pretty good.
It's gonna be 60 in a few days.
Okay, cool.
So speaking of Arizona,
So meanwhile, I'm going to be back home.
speaking of Arizona, is the iced tea all it's cracked up to be, or is that just a marketing slogan?
I don't. Oh, no, I have no idea.
That's 1.5.
Is
That's
that
going
the
on.
barrel aged? Didn't they make a barrel aged?
No, that's Twisted Tea, not
Never mind. They all
I
seem
thought
the
that
same.
stuff was made in New York anyway.
So wait, is that false advertising? Is that Arizona, New York, or something? Like how there's like a Wyoming, Michigan? Is there an Arizona, New York?
Yeah.
No.
Should we sue them?
Yes.
Should we?
We should
That's a
sue
good
them
idea.
for false advertisement. Nick, what's going on?
How's it going, man?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm just sore from racquetball the other day.
What are you drinking over there?
Got a little bit of the Blake's Archimedes. I got the Naughty Neighbor from Nickelbrook. And hopefully we'll learn more about this with our guests here very shortly. The Deja Brew from YpsiAlehouse.
Awesome, Angela. What's going on?
What's up?
We've only been doing this for about a year now, Angela.
Second time
Yeah.
you've said that in like the last 2 minutes.
I know.
Like, what's going on?
We were.
tonight?
It's like
He's
trying to like
He's so
reacclimate her.
underwhelmed by my responses.
What do you?
I was thinking something and I just completely lost it.
Well, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
That's good.
How are you?
I'm well, thank
Good.
you. What are you drinking?
The Deja Brew. It's delicious.
It is. I like it too. I'm drinking it right now. Rob,
Hey.
what's going on?
Ass.
Hey.
Doing all right. You know, not a whole lot of sleep today. Got up at about 5:30 this morning. Some crazy stuff going on in the household, but everything is right with the world right
Wait
now.
a sec. What time do you normally get up?
5:45.
8?
8 usually.
Shut up, man. Get out of here.
I don't even set an alarm.
Well, it must be nice.
Right.
Gosh.
I was gonna say I woke up at the crack of like 9 o'clock today. It was
Oh
nice.
my God. You guys,
I would prefer the
hate you
crack of
guys.
noon. It's just ridiculous.
20 to 6 every morning.
Yeah. You
Don't
keep
feel
up with
bad.
that.
My alarm that's set for 5:30 Mountain Time went off at 5:30 this
What,
morning.
Nick?
Gonna whoop my
Is that
ass.
what time you have to start baking cookies in the treehouse?
Oh, come on, Matt.
Can we?
Wow.
I can't even mute his
Oh,
mic
no,
'cause
get
it's
that
Rob's.
bell.
Ah,
What's
crap.
going on?
You can't mute him. Yeah.
It's too early for
I'll
that.
just
Matt's sharing. Oh, Jesus.
I'll just punch
did
him in the
this-
stomach.
I was gonna say Matt's face is about as red as the red solo cups in front of him for sure.
Jerk off.
Anyway,
Matt
I-
figured out how to troll the show now.
Right.
Just don't give him a mic.
Matt, what are you drinking over there, Matt?
Wait, before we get to Matt, you know, I'm drinking too. You know,
Oh, nobody cares. I'm just
it doesn't matter. I've got the Deja Brew, and I'm also just double fisting. I've got another Wolf Moon Mixer Motor City Brewing Works collaboration, a strawberry rhubarb Belgian triple.
It's a lot of words.
It's a few,
Just a few.
No kidding.
just a couple, but it's good. They're both good.
That's good, Matt.
Yes, Ken. I have my standard double deuce of Corona, in honor of Dan because he always brings his single. So when he's gone, I have to do it. And I don't know when he's not coming back.
Corona.
Corona, yeah.
When do I drink Corona?
You don't, but you always bring a single.
Oh, that's true.
So
Yeah,
what are you drinking,
okay.
Ken?
I'm drinking the Deja Brew from our guests.
How do you like it?
I love it.
Is it not too hoppy for you?
It is not hoppy, which is really really interesting for the style of beer for sure, because it's a American style brown, and I definitely can tell the difference between an American and European simply because I hate hoppy beers. So I'm going to be very interested to talk about this beer when we introduce our guests. You got your Verners over there, or your Diet Verners?
Diet Verners, baby. Got to
One
keep
of
it.
And his Corona Extra.
One of these days, we got to get them to sponsor us for sure. For all the plugs you give them.
I mean, I'll just go to Flavortown. Isn't it on 8 Mile where they make it? Or they used to?
I have no idea.
I think it's not far from here.
Well, ask Dan. He was probably there when they invented Verners.
Yeah, well, just hanging out.
Just hanging out. So we do have guests in studio today, as you guys can
Many
see
guests.
on video, as well as, they've been quiet for the intros. But let's start off over here. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us where you're from?
Well, my name is David Roberts. I'm from the YpsiAlehouse.
YpsiAlehouse. Where's that
Yeah.
located at?
It's downtown Ypsilanti, right one block off Michigan Ave. It's a microbrewery restaurant that we opened about 2 years ago.
2 years ago. All right. And next to you, we have...
My name's Tim. I live in Ypsi. I work at the ale house. I've been a brewer there since beginning of July.
I was waiting. Like the way you said it, it was like really, really. That's a decent time to be
Yeah.
there for how long they've been open. And next to me, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Ted Badgerow. I'm the beer chauffeur.
The beer chauffeur.
Yes.
Is that what it says on your business card?
Well, you have to have a chauffeur's license to deliver beer, and so I deliver the beer for the ale house.
That works for me.
Yeah.
I'm also the cellar man.
All right.
I do a lot of music around the place, and I'm the head brewer and one of the owners.
All right.
I hang around there a lot. I'm the first one there every stinking morning. 5:30, talk about that.
So you've been in the industry for a long time.
Yes, I actually started the first microbrewery in Michigan, first newly licensed brewery in 38 years in Chelsea in 1982, the Real Ale Company. And it was a very new thing back then.
Now, does the Real Ale Company still exist? Or
No. We went out of business after about 2.5 years or so. We sold all the beer we could brew, but it cost us $25.50 to brew beer that we were selling at $20 a case.
Well, that's not a way to make any money at all.
No. We had
So what did you do in that span of the last 35 years?
I've been a professional musician and a tile, marble, and natural stone setter in custom work for about 30 years.
So then what brought you back into the brewing industry?
People said, "Hey, Teddy, we really like your beer. It's about time you got back into it." So I figured I have to do some, getting too old to be on my knees, and I figured, hey, let's do it again.
So Tim, you've been brewing since July. Were you brewing anywhere else before?
Yeah, at another brewery in Ypsi called Unity Vibration, and I've been a home brewer for 7 years.
We actually had Unity Vibration on. Gosh, it's almost been 2 years.
It's back in the old studio.
Back in the old.
Back in,
No, they were here.
no, they were here. So it was about at least a year ago. At
Yep,
least.
we had them on with Nick the Brewer from Black Lotus. At
Oh,
the
that was
same time.
that was a fun night.
So what made you move the transfer over from kombucha to beer?
I'm a grain guy at heart.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing better than brewing a giant bowl of soup in the brew house. And you have all these different ingredients that you throw in, and it's like being in a kitchen. I absolutely love it. You know, kombucha side's great, but you're using just sugars and adjuncts. There's no mashing involved. It's a different animal entirely.
And so Unity Vibration was your first foray into brewing. Did you homebrew at all? Or?
Oh, yeah. I was a home brewer for 7 years. Took a few best in shows. Still belong to a local brew club, the Ann Arbor Brewers Guild.
Do you still homebrew right now, or?
Yeah. I got into brewing with the missus, and she doesn't work in a brew house. She's got a real job. So,
Yeah, that's what it takes.
so she still loves to brew, and we still homebrew together.
What was your first beer you ever made? Style?
IPA, like every home brewer out there, you go to an IPA. And one of the main reasons is if you throw a bunch of hops in, you can hide a bunch of mistakes. And it's a good thing to do when you're a home brewer, when you're first starting out. And I still remember my first clone. It was a Crooked Tree, actually. It was the first clone that I brewed.
Was it close?
Very close, actually.
Is that personal bias, or?
No, actually, it tasted pretty much dead on. I worked with Tyler over at AIH, and he gave me a recipe directly from Dark Horse, and it worked out very well.
Awesome. So, Dave.
Well, we're passing around another beer right now.
We are. Oh yeah, we could talk about the beer if you want. What are we?
We
What
got a
are we,
lot of growlers on this table.
what,
here.
what are we passing out?
Well, this one we're passing out is probably our top seller, and it's called the Blue Racer. It's a blueberry honey wheat. Ted can explain the origins of the Blue Racer. But since Matt was drinking the single Corona, I thought he would like something light. Mr. Lightman over here, so...
Well, I like to drink a lot. So,
Well-
I mean, no offense to Dan, who can sit here and drink, 14%ers all day. I just don't have that endurance.
Either 14%ers or 40s. It's one or the other. There's no middle ground.
Yeah, but do you really like licking a skunk's ass every time you take a sip?
And it doesn't have lime in it.
Skunks have been very
Shots
good to me.
fired.
Hydrogen sulfide.
I'm more curious of the fact of how you know the taste of a skunk's ass.
A lot of experience.
Did you go to Eastern?
So the Blue
Says the
Racer,
Chippewa.
this is your biggest seller.
Yes.
Like, how often do you guys go through it? Is this always on? Is this seasonal? Is this?
This one is always on. And I don't know, I forgot how many batches we
21.
make a month. Well, something
Just
like
brewed 21.
that. Yeah.
Wow.
So and it's popular at some of the places that we distribute too.
Where do you guys get far out of Ypsi area, or are you
We're
kind of like in the Ypsi Arbor? That's just about it.
we go to Canton.
Okay.
We're in at the airport.
Oh, wow.
What bar at the airport?
Well, we're going to go back on at the Marriott Airport, and we're talking to some of the other ones out there too.
I was going to say, sorry to interrupt. I actually just went to the airport last week, and the National Coney Island had like Griffin Claw and Roke and a few other. Like, they had some good beers at the National.
Hey, if you're flying into Michigan and you need a beer, what better place? The airport, Who'd have thought?
Laconia and Norms? Yeah, that sounds...
That sounds actually kind of good.
It doesn't sound
It
bad.
doesn't sound too bad at all.
So you're at the airport.
Yep, and then
Marriott.
we're also in Saline, Brighton, probably a couple of other places.
Today I delivered to Basement Burger Bar some Blue Racer today and stopped by. We shared with the World of Beers a collaborative wit, which was the beer of the month for December. Tony Sacco's, those are all in Canton.
Yep.
And also today I was at Captain Joe's, where they took a Jimmy Jack's, which is a pale ale, and Jameson's. Where else? Those are all just today.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So there's definitely a lot of places on the portfolio for YpsiAlehouse.
We've got about 30.
Nice. In about 2 years, 30 different places. Now, was distro part of the plan, or was it kind of just like, let's see how far we get after a year and then we'll reconsider? Or has it always been? He's deferring the question over.
Well, it's one of these things where we've had some interest in places.
Sure.
When you go in, we were at the Summer Beer Festival and we had people coming up saying, "Hey, we're looking for a good local beer.
Sure.
What have you got?" And then they taste them. They go, "Okay, let's talk after this." And so we'd end up talking, and the next thing we know was they have one of our beers on tap.
Right on, right, and yeah, with the Summer Beer Fest in
Ypsilanti.
right there in the park, right down in Riverside Park.
Yeah, we're the closest brewery, and we're just half a block off of the
park,
the Riverside Park.
And at least they had air conditioning.
Ice, give me ice.
That was rough.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting because we went Saturday.
Yeah, it
and
started
was-
okay.
And it was just a muggy
Yeah.
and sunny. Like it was the worst of both.
It was fine for a while, then it got so humid and the sun just blasting you.
Well, 2 years ago, it got up to 98 degrees on that Saturday. It was miserable.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if we had the temp out, but for sure, like you could tell a lot of people were going to that. Well, whatever bar we went to on the corner.
Yeah, we went to Sidetrack.
Going to Sidetracks, and like you could tell people were just getting inside just to get into the AC
Just to cool
for
down
sure.
or whatever.
Yeah, it was definitely the complete opposite of the Winter Beer Fest from a few years ago.
Which is next week.
Yes, it is next week. We will be going there. We're actually going to be pouring for Latitude 42 while we're there.
Scott
so-
Freitas.
Yes, and you could definitely check out a really good brewery over there that's going to be pouring called Brown Iron Brew House.
One of our sponsors.
One of our sponsors. They're going to be at the Brewers Guild Festival, but if you're not going to the Brewers Guild Festival, you can find them over on Van Dyke Road, just south of 26 north of 26 Mile.
Come on, man.
No one's as good as Matt at saying that.
Saying what? The one where you can't say are there sponsors?
Just north of 26
26.
Mile on M53.
There you go. Go check it out. Grab the poutine.
Oh, I spoke and I figured out how you said M53 was the expressway. It's actually not true because that's the Christopher Columbus Expressway. Thus, it's not M53. M53 is Van Dyke.
It's M53. Let's not beat around the bush.
Bam.
The Bush.
Because his last name is Bush.
So, Dave, what did you do before? That pun was just too hard.
I know.
We hit it like 6 times too.
It's kind of like with the short jokes and the Keebler Elf kind of joke you made earlier.
I've been dealing with the last name. I went to elementary school when he was elected president. I've been around that block so many times. It doesn't even faze me.
Hey, you were in elementary school back in 2000.
I was gonna say, are we talking about
Which Bush are we
George
talking about?
H.W. Bush?
HW.
Wait a minute.
41, not 43.
I was like, damn.
There were 2 of them.
There were.
Bush League.
So before YpsiAlehouse, what were you doing?
I worked for General Motors.
Oh.
In a variety of capacities.
Were you an engineer by chance?
No, not an engineer, an economist.
Well, okay.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, no, it just seems like a lot of people that come on have worked in the auto industry and they've used their engineering to bring it into the beer world. But I think economics is a different shift that I don't know if we've ever seen an economist come into the beer world. I mean, I would imagine it's always kind of dreary, so you always want to drink beer.
Yeah, it could be dreary, but I don't know. I always found it fascinating because at the core of economics is human behavior. That you're looking at how they process things and how it really what it goes through in some of their decision making. So
It's funny because you're talking about economy right now. I'm actually going through global economics for my master's right now, so it's like, okay, I actually understand some of the things that he's saying right now, and he's just scraping the surface there a little bit. So.
With your school being applied here.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy? Here on a beer podcast, I get to apply.
You can't do it in real life.
Yeah, you know, right? Yeah.
So what was the leap from economics to beer? Like, was it a smooth transition? Were you brewing a lot and then you figured, screw it, I'm going to do this full time? Or was there something else that you a different process?
I have news for you, Matt. I've never brewed in my life.
He makes good wine.
But I did make wine. That was my introduction into fermentation. And so I made a bunch of wine for about 4 years and so understood the processes. And then I left General Motors after the bankruptcy and was looking for something to do, was doing some consulting on electric vehicles and advanced technologies. And then I decided I wanted to do something wild and crazy, so I met Ted, and we ended up starting a brewery. And it's been wild and crazy ever since.
It's a family enterprise. Dave's son, Dave's daughter is married to my son, and we have a mutual grandson.
whose birthday was this week.
Yes,
On
and
the
we're celebrating
13th,
tomorrow.
and the party's tomorrow.
Yeah, so it's
So you guys are bringing the beer, right?
Yeah.
everywhere we go.
So explain to me, because this is the thing that I've always got confused of whenever I was building like our Michigan beer map, which you can go to betterondraft.com/MI beer map and check it out. See all the breweries right on a Google Maps. What is Mishigama?
Well, Mishigama, I mean, we were looking around for a corporate name that was relatively unique. And by the way, I would tell you in our searches that there is not a animal in some color that has not been used in a brewery name. So that's how many breweries there are out there. I mean, red wolves, white wolves, green wolves, whatever. So anyway, we wanted something unique. Mishigama is the Native American term for big water, which is what they called Michigan. And that was the origin of Michigan. So big water, and water, of course, you guys all know this, is kind of a key ingredient of beer.
Sure. Yeah.
Water's like 90% beer.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a
that was
Deep cut.
That was insightful.
that was a deep cut callback to a Matt Bushism.
Do you keep track of those?
I should, because I think it would make a great intro to have all the random things that we've said on this show.
Soundboard him, man. All he
For
needs is
sure.
a soundboard.
So why did it go from Mishigama to YpsiAlehouse?
Well, we decided as we wanted to have. I mean, to back up. Part of the discussion is how do you want to approach it, and a number of places approached it with let's have a separate corporate name from a location name. And, Bell's is probably a good example of that with their eccentric cafe. And others just went with a particular brewery name like Holmes Brewing, or there are plenty of examples actually on both sides. And we decided we wanted to have a local name that people could identify with locally. And the YpsiAlehouse fit that bill. And so it's people are proud of their local establishments, and this just created a good local vibe for the community. And on our logo, you'll see is the main landmark in the town of Ypsilanti, and that is the water tower. And so
The
that's a
water tower?
Yeah.
Okay. I've just heard it called something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Brick Richard.
Yeah, Brick Richard.
Rick Richard.
Yeah, sure.
It was actually voted the most, in 2003 or 4, the most phallic building in the world.
And I think that's the only time it needed to be voted on, because I'm probably sure it's stayed that way since.
It's only the phallic of the year, I think.
Ken has his head down. He's like, oh, God.
So I've seen it 100 times because just through my travels.
Just look on the growler.
And it's on the growler too.
There you go. Just put it right in front of his face.
Now, just to continue on this trend, though, let me tell you that when we were developing our logos, we were working down a one path because we developed a number of logos. We were working with the water tower as a core feature with beer coming out of it.
I'm just holding
Matt,
my mouth.
are you waiting? Are you waiting, Matt? Are you using that vivid imagination?
I'm just shutting my mouth because we're gonna go right off the rails.
Wait, we haven't already?
No.
Not with the
No,
key-
we're getting close, but we haven't gotten there yet. Just hold on.
Should I time it?
So the water tower is a key feature, and we wanted to be local. We do a lot. Some of our beers are 100% Michigan ingredients,
Like the Blue Racer.
like
which
the
is
Blue Racer, which I think you
60%
just had.
White wheat. It's from Pilot Malt House, Byron Center. The malts are, and from Michigan hops and honey from Windmill Hill
What's
Farms.
the ABV on that Blue Racer?
6.8, I think.
Yeah, 6.6, 6.8. That's right.
Yeah, but it's 6.2. You got, Ted,
yeah.
Ted gave us a really nice list here. 6.2? 6.2, the Blue Racer?
Yeah,
That's right. We knocked down the ABV on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, does that kind of fluctuate with the honey? Like, I know that honey is kind of different based on where the bees are congregating. So do you see that the honey between batches might change the beer a little bit? Or
Honey is actually very consistent with gravity.
Okay.
But we add it directly into the primary fermenter, and the dispersion of it probably is not entirely equal. We might have a bit of gravitational bias.
It's
as far
always
as
within
gravity.
a tenth of a point.
But so I guess the thought is, so there's no difference. I mean, every batch of honey that you get is the exact same,
It's
right?
it's all
Yeah.
wildflower, and
Okay.
it's all going to have the same gravity.
I just meant like taste wise, because
Well,
depending on
they're
what the
pretty
bees are.
consistent
Yeah.
at Windmill.
Cool. Yeah.
We buy, 10, 12 buckets at a time, and they're each 60-pound buckets. It's a lot of honey.
Have you guys ever thought of making mead since you guys have a winery license? Or?
Don't have space.
Okay.
Or the time. Mead is an arduous task. I've made a lot of mead home brewing, and sitting on something for a year when you're constantly turning product is it's tough to do.
So you mentioned space is a problem. How big is
elbow
YpsiAlehouse?
to elbow.
Elbow to elbow.
Yeah.
Similar to this room, I'm guessing. Right?
Actually, the size of this room is about the size of our brew house. Our brew house is a little longer, but just about as wide.
Wow.
Really?
And in that room, we fit 3 vessels and 3 fermenters.
It's about the
let's make
size.
So you're
doubles.
constantly churning and making stuff just so that way you have.
Keep it up on.
Yeah,
keeping-
we've got 6 fermenters
Okay.
that are constantly going through. We also have an additional 2 3-barrel fermenters and a couple bright tanks. So we've got 8 fermenters in the building.
Okay. All right. Big now that you guys are in Ypsilanti, you got Eastern Michigan there. Big college crowd coming to the bar, or do they? Because you associate college kids, you're like, it's craft beer. I want the
Hams.
cheap hams. Yeah, there we go. Do you guys get a lot of college kids coming through?
No, we get a lot of blue hairs, actually.
Faculty, staff, and
We've become a local hangout. We have live music almost every night, and it's usually locals who want to get away from the college hangouts. They want to get away from the other brewery in town that's super loud, so they come to our place, sit down for really good food, really good beer.
great music.
And we have, and the building is huge.
Okay.
The seating area, we seat like what, 300?
No, we're
181?
really
181. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's
But it's divided among 3 rooms, so
Sure.
you can actually sit down and watch a band, or you can go over by the bar and chill out, or there's a separate room entirely where you can't hear anything and you can have private parties, gaming, whatever.
Okay. All
We
right.
have a dart room and a patio and
Yeah.
many
Nice.
different areas.
Steel tip darts.
I would say
Yeah, retractable.
Actually, darts. We have a beer here today called the Jolly Cricketeer. It's a dark mild for the Dart League, who comes in and plays cricket all the time.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
I'm assuming the loud brewery is one that sits on the corner.
It used to sit on a corner. I'm not sure what it's sitting on
It's
now.
moved to Arbor now.
But what you also find in Ypsi with the EMU is EMU's student profile is unusual for most colleges because their average age is about 24. Most of the people who are attending Eastern are working.
Yep.
So then you end up with a situation where they live in Livonia, they work in Dearborn, and they go to school in Ypsilanti, and all of that traveling and
Yep.
running around
Yep.
means no time.
It's-
Probably like how your life is, Nick.
Yeah. Live in Sterling Heights, work in Farmington Hills. When I was in college, went to Detroit, a Wayne State grad. So Wayne State, Eastern Michigan, it's commuter schools. That's what it is. Just because you're a D1, I don't want to go back. I'm going to use a sports analogy for a second. D1 school doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have the look and feel, or the
Those guys who wear blue.
we won't talk about those guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's okay. The look and feel
the
of a
Duke
typical
Blue Devils.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like,
They're
what are
okay.
we talking about?
No, they're talking about the
Get
Jesuits
lost.
of Detroit Mercy.
yeah, Detroit. Yeah, UD Mercy.
University. That's
Northwood University. I'm digging deep now.
No, it's the Lawrence Tech Blue Devils, actually.
Lawrence Tech.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They have a hockey team. That's all I know.
No, they're bringing a football team
Football
now, too.
team.
really.
Yeah.
They have enough people that can play.
Lawrence Tech football?
Yeah. What? I got
Dan, you want to play
Yeah,
football
I
next
was
year?
like, are we going to go play football?
I'm about to
I
say,
have a semester left of eligibility.
I got a cousin who's on scholarship for a soccer team there. over at
That's not that's not the
I
same
know,
thing.
I know, but I'm just
Like, wait
saying
a minute.
the sports program is growing, is what I'm really ultimately getting to. Anyway, enough about sports. Let's talk about beer.
Keep us on track, Ken.
Thank you
That's
for
normally
yelling
my
at me
job.
and calling me out. So, did you homebrew before you opened up?
Yes. In fact, in
Was it Real Ale House?
In
Or Real Ale?
1978, I started homebrewing just as soon as it was legalized.
Okay.
I was actually riding my bicycle across the street, the state from Muskegon to Ann Arbor, and stopped over at my friend's house in Grand Rapids, and I was.
Did you say bicycle?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure I heard that
I'd
correctly.
stay over in Lansing overnight, make it a 2-day trip.
You would drive a bike. You would pedal a bicycle from Muskegon to Lansing to Ann Arbor.
Oh, yeah, Campo d'Italia, a good Italian racing bike. Stay on the
Okay.
pavement, yeah.
People ride bikes
Sorry.
in France
Yeah.
like that every year. Calm
Sorry,
down.
I didn't
Yeah,
know.
there's a little race that goes on, you know.
So
Maybe you've heard of it?
President Jimmy Carter legalized home brewing. He signed a
thank
paper
God.
to do that, which is at least one
So
of
he
his
did do
steps
one
forward.
thing right, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
All right.
And
He also, no.
so my best friend and fellow musician, I pulled on up to his house. He said, "Hey, you look hot. Have a beer." What did I say? And so he poured me a really nice dark beer. I said, "Gee, you've must got a raise on the job. You're buying the imports now." He said, "I made it myself." I said, "Nah," because back then there were no home brewers.
There weren't a lot of imports either, when you think about it.
Well, about 5% of the market or less, but that's why I thought. So,
You mean like Labatt's?
Yeah, wait, are we talking about Canadian beer? I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. And so I said, "Gee, Jim, how much does it cost a bottle?" He said, "Oh, about 15 cents." And I said, "Hey, I got to try this." So I did, and people liked it and told me to start a brewery, and dummy me, I did.
It was interesting because I typed in Jimmy Carter to legalize, and the only thing it says is Jimmy Carter legalized homebrewing. That was the only response on Google, like autofill. So very interesting. I think we've talked about this on the show before, but up until about 5 years ago, it was actually still illegal in Alabama and Mississippi to homebrew.
That doesn't surprise me.
Mississippi was the last state to ratify. That was
lot of things,
2012 or 2013.
Shocking.
It's that.
So
Well,
what, they're not
interesting.
progressive down there? Who would have thought?
I couldn't think of anything nice to say. I'm glad you did.
Well, we've talked about this, and when we had the guy who owned the craft beer bar in Japan, that because homebrewing is illegal in Japan still, but the thing is that the homebrewing market, there's still a market to sell homebrewing equipment. Like it's not illegal to sell the equipment; it's illegal to do it.
Is
Was that like selling bongs?
Well, no, it's kind of like distilling here in the U.S. You can buy the equipment, but you just can't make anything with it.
Is that like when during Prohibition you could buy yeast extract and it just said don't pour this in the water, and they just knew that.
Don't
exactly
mix
what
this
you were
sugar with that. Don't put
Don't
this
do
in.
that.
They didn't have. They had the instructions labeled on what not to do, but if you did it all in the
Don't do this. Then especially don't do this. And by God, if you do not do this.
So the beer that's going around right now is a dark mild. It's 3.1%.
Oh yeah.
Pass that around, please. Well, take your, and I'll just chug.
Dan, it's too
English
cold for you,
mild.
Dan.
Yeah, no. Oh, it might be.
Yeah, it does need to warm up a little bit. But that beer you just had, the Blue Racer, there's
Yeah.
something really unique about that beer.
I taste pretty much crisp and blueberry
Yeah, and honey, but you know what you don't taste?
hops.
Exactly. That is a zero bitterness beer. There are no hops in the boil.
I know.
How many
Yeah.
IBUs?
Well, there's no hops in the boil.
No hops in the boil. It's only dry hopped. So Ted, when he was doing his test beers, the women came up to him and said, I really want a beer that isn't bitter. So he brewed a beer with no bitterness, and it's become the best seller as a result. And when you're at the ale house, we have these Pilsner glasses, and we will put blueberries in the beer, and they bubble up and down. You call it what?
A kinetic beer sculpture.
Yeah.
Or a lava lamp of beer. I've had people actually bet on which blueberry would make it to the top first. I call that success.
That sounds like something we would definitely do.
That sounds like something we would definitely do.
It sounds like the
I got
pickle race
20 bucks on
Baymax.
this one.
Go blue! Go blue!
Go blue.
So, in regards to trying to make a beer without bitterness, have you guys ever made a Groot or?
I don't think you've done a
Not
Brew
yet.
in house.
No, not even home brewing for a test.
Well, why not?
That'd be a good idea.
I
I'd have to
think
find the time.
I've assisted on a couple Gruits. Where what I really want to do is actually build a full flue and do sati one of these days. That's looking forward to trying that.
You have to understand, Tim is a beer snob. BJCP kind of, and you will readily admit that, won't you?
Yeah, I'm a prick.
So you're
when it comes to
CBY?
beer.
Yeah.
I'm a
It's
prick.
CBY.
No. Hold on. We haven't. He hasn't reached that area yet. He hasn't told me that we're terrible for. Oh no, he did talk to Matt about drinking Corona. So yeah, I guess he's there.
Yeah. No, when I go into a brew house, like earlier today, I was over at River Rouge Brewing, and I love to sit down, talk beer with different brewers. And that's one of the coolest things about being a brewer is you can walk into any brewery, look at the system, know exactly what's going on, and start to talk to them about the system in the house, and they will run you through every tap that they have just because they want your opinion. And when they find out you're a judge on top of that,
Oh, goodness.
yeah.
We crave tasters. How else are you going to develop a beer without having a variety, a spectrum of taste opinions?
Absolutely.
Because we all got different buds.
And actually, we're hosting at the Alehouse right now, every other week, a Brewers Judging Certification Program class. We've got a guy who's he's a member of the American Homebrewers Association, and he's a master taster. And we're running people through every style of beer and having them judge every style of beer. By the time they get out, they're ready to take the test.
So in regards to BJCP, because obviously I've sat in on a World Expo of beer judging.
Yeah.
I haven't participated in one yet. But with that in mind, like, is the full BJCP just to rate true to style, or
It's
is there
always to style.
Okay.
Always.
So it's never a flavor like what you like the best. It's always a two style.
It's two style. Each guideline comes out every 4 to 5 years. You have master judges out there like Gordon Strong and Jamil and a bunch of other people, and they'll say, hey, this ESB, these are the characteristics that we're going to pull out of an ESB or a special bit or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
And that's what they write down. So they'll have a set of examples like these 7 or 8 beers represent the style, and this is what you should be able to pull out of it.
How do they change guidelines? Like, what forces a guideline to be changed for a beer?
Well, they
A
invent
great-
New England IPA.
New England IPA is a great example.
Wouldn't that just create a new style since it's a style? I mean, right then and there, you're going to change the color and the haze and
On bitterness.
yeah.
When you have a New England IPA, there's no bitter on the back end if it's done properly because all the hops are going in the primary. So it's all going to be in the nose. And as you know, your nose is about 85 to 90% of your sense of taste. So if you take a New England IPA and try to judge it as an IPA, you can't, according to BJCP. It would rate terribly. It may taste amazing, but it'll only score 20 because there's no bitterness.
And there's still no accredited category. For
And there won't
New
be
England
for
IPA.
another year, probably. Probably 2019, 2020 is when the new guidelines will come out.
Why is it so strict? I mean, there's obviously this craze toward them, so why are they waiting? Do
Because it's an overhaul of the entire guide. Because
you have to overhaul the entire guide just to add one item, though?
Yeah, because sometimes beer styles change. Like, look at a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, for example. For a long time, that was the benchmark Pale Ale. And in the 2012 guide, I believe it was 2012, it wasn't even listed as something that represented Pale Ales in America today. But it's made its way back into the 2015 guide. But that's a great example. Every time that you go through the iterations of the guide, beers change. People's palates change. So people gravitate more towards a certain beer as a representation of the style. So they have to go through and rejudge all of the beers that are part of that style and see if they fit with the palate and what we expect a beer to taste like in the modern day.
But I guess isn't that kind of like an objective, like a subjective change being done by subjective people, because for some, I mean, my thought
Beer is nothing but subjectivity.
yeah, but I guess my premise is if you, God help
You
us
need
all.
another beer, Matt.
I'm working on it. But you're almost kind of explaining like a beer Illuminati that just change their thoughts on beer every few years, and thus they shift the mode of beer entirely. Instead of, if you drink a Sierra Nevada, like you said, every day, you know exactly what it tastes like. That beer's probably not changing, because I would almost guarantee you that Sierra Nevada themselves have automated it.
Oh, of course.
But just because Joe the Judge has tried another pale ale from a microbrewery, it skews his taste a bit. So now the entire, unseeing eye of the beer Illuminati has to change because of this one microbrewery on the corner somewhere.
Well, it's not just the microbrewery. It's beers that are going to be common for everybody across the country. So, like, for example, let's look at New England IPA. You've obviously all had M43.
What's that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you probably went gaga over it the first time, and now you're probably like, it's passé.
exactly.
Angela.
No.
No?
she's
She's the one that has the kegs of it in
right,
her.
and she's still French pressing it with Fruit Loops.
Ew.
You're not even denying it. I'm just making this shit up. You're not even denying
I did
it.
that.
But if you look at the M43, it's just an iteration of what the Alchemist has been doing with Heady Topper and a couple of the others on the East Coast. And it's not even close to what a Heady Topper tastes like. So it's curious as to what direction it's going to go in when the style guides come out. Are we going to lean more towards M43? Are we going to lean more towards some of the up-and-comers that have a little bit of bitterness on the back end? Or are we going to go to classic with the Heady Topper?
Could there be two different categories, though?
Probably not.
Because they're both.
Because IPAs have been, traditionally, it's been like IPA and then like a host of specialty IPAs. So you have like barrel-aged, fruit additions, double IPAs.
Is a West Coast IPA
I
thing
don't
style
think
yet?
that M43
No.
is like heady either, but there's a whole lot of beers that are like heady, and then there's a whole lot of beers like M43. So I don't
Yeah.
think that they belong in the same category.
It all depends on where the consensus lies, and that's the kind of stuff that goes into judging a beer.
So before we get down into this rabbit hole, because this is going to be go.
Oh, Westminster Dog Show. How many saw it last week? Who knows?
Oh, I know it.
Who was top dog? A Bichon Frise.
I was going to say a Basenji, but I was pretty damn
But
close.
I was gonna
okay,
say my
I
top.
used to check dog licenses, and if you have a pedigreed dog, a purebred dog, it must be a certain category: appearance, behavior. Same thing with beers. On the other hand, there are some people who philosophically will say, "Hey, I like mutts. I like mongrels. They're better behaved." And so in the philosophy of brewing, you can go one way or the other. Some of my friends, like Mike Bardalis, wonderful brewer, he has my, hey, if it tastes good, it is good. And many things
Sounds
defy
familiar.
category. Like, how do I enter a blueberry honey wheat? Is it a honey beer? No. Is it a wheat beer? No. Is it a fruit beer? No. It's a specialty beer under the categories. But the idea is you either brew something exactly to style, BJCP, or else you do whatever the hell you want and what you think tastes good.
the most important thing is, are the customers liking it and are the customers buying it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to.
And literally.
We are going to be right back. Better on Draft Podcast.
Talk juicy to me.
Did Poison make that?
Turning the mics on. And we are live, episode number 120.
120.
What time is it? Because we've derailed.
It's
So I don't know
tool
how-
time.
I don't know how it happened.
It's
I'm Tim Allen.
5:53 Arizona time.
Good Lord.
So we still have our guests in. Thank you very much for
Very good. I didn't know what time it was.
Get out of here. What the hell?
All right. With
for a
that
couple
in
more
mind, I kind of want to go back into that the BJCP judging thing because the BJCP has been around for a while. When you first started, it wasn't there. You were kind of like just a lone wolf. There was no.
I became a judge in 1985.
So you were still within the industry, at least as a taster. So instead of a brewer.
Well, I was actually a cook, chef. Was head cook at school and hospital, and ran the U Club kitchen for Michigan Union, and worked for U of M. And I like so many brewers, I came into brewing from cooking.
Okay.
Cooking and brewing are the same thing.
Now, are you still certified BJCP, or is that like something?
I let that one lapse. I haven't judged it. I haven't had interest in judging competitions in a while.
Is there any reason, or is just whatever?
I've been too busy.
Fair enough.
But I'll probably take the exam. Who knows? Maybe pass.
I hear there's a good class on it over at the YpsiAlehouse.
Yeah.
Maybe help you
My
refresh
presence is
before you take
required
the
sometimes,
test.
yeah.
What about you? Are you didn't brew before you got in there? You were in finance. Were you like where do you fall into this whole company?
I'm one of the owners. So
Well, we know you're the owner.
the buck stops here.
Starts there.
Starts here, yeah. But what I'm doing is a lot of the organization outside of doing the direct brewing. So working on because we also have at the YpsiAlehouse a full restaurant.
Okay.
So in addition to the brewery, so we kind of got two operations going. Like more of the places that are occurring in the state of Michigan in the craft brew area. So I worry about a lot of the other stuff as well as helping on the brewery side in the non-technical sense.
So you haven't made any beer? You haven't tried like helping out or anything like that? Or?
Haven't had the time to do that, but I do understand the beer. I'm taking the beer judging class. So I'm learning all about the different styles and learning about the brewing process and talk with them about it. I haven't really brewed, but we have experts on brewing.
It's probably one of the good ways of probably running a business. I'm assuming you give these guys creative freedom to come up with whatever they want, whatever's gonna put people inside the brewery, sell, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and there's certain things that I bring because I did a fair amount of tours in the area of market research and understanding consumers. So there's looking at like our taps. We've got 12 beers on tap, and so when I'm looking at that, I look at it as a portfolio.
Sure.
So when the customers come in, you don't want all hoppy beers. You don't want all non-hoppy beers. You don't want to have 12 IPAs. And also when I go into some of these places that we're selling to, and I'm looking at their portfolio and trying to understand where they have opportunities to do some creativity, then we can get into how the different beers go into the portfolio, their portfolio and what sells. And sometimes, you could have places right next door to each other, and one could sell all of maybe IPAs are real successful, and the next door they're doing something different.
Sure.
And that happens more often than not because the clientele of the two places are different.
Oh yeah, definitely. Go take like Detroit for example. Bars all over the place. Every place is different. Everyone's got their own little twist on things. And they're all obviously going to attract their own unique crowds and everything. You're obviously going to want to make sure that that you get the crowd that you're looking for. But it sounds like you guys get pretty big diverse crowd coming into the place, basically.
Exceptionally diverse, yeah.
Yes. That's Ypsilanti.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's talk about the restaurant for a second. They talked about distribution being part of the plan. Was restaurant ever part of the plan, or was that was that like an afterthought?
No, it was actually part of the plan because when we looked around for space, and this is what as anybody who's brewing and wants to start a brewery of some size, okay, they have to make a decision really up front.
Sure.
Are you going to have food or not? Okay? And if you're not going to have a kitchen and a restaurant, that frees you up, but it also kind of constrains you in places.
Sure.
So when we were looking around, we were looking at places that did not have a kitchen, and then we looked at, the place that we're in, which was an old Buffalo Wild Wings operation.
Oh, really?
And it had a full kitchen, not a large kitchen, but
One that you can work with.
a serviceable one,
Yeah.
right? You're not going to have the largest menu in the world, but I don't think that we needed the largest menu in the world.
Kind of going through the menu here, and I kind of wish I had dinner at your guys' place, but it's a pretty ballin' menu. I'm liking what I see. I see you got the soft pretzels, you got the beer cheese fries. I mean, what's one of the biggest sellers for the food?
The biggest sellers and the most popular item on our menu is our truffle oil fries.
Oh, jeez.
And they are like...
That sounds obnoxious.
Yeah.
That just sounds really good right now. Better than the Chipotle that I had earlier.
Yeah. I can imagine that. And hey, also for this week, what we're doing was we're running a special on the truffle fries because they're so popular.
Oh, gosh.
Based on the number of medals that the U.S. and Canada win on the day before at the Olympics.
Uh-oh.
So the other day, the two combined for 6 medals.
Oh, geez.
We're giving 10% off for each medal, so the fries for that day were 60% off.
Oh my gosh.
I got to tell you, it's really rough working there when you have a menu like this to choose from to eat. Like this week, the specials were crab cakes or catfish po' boy as specials on top of the regular menu. Yeah.
And we're always matching, too, with Chef Joe. Wonderful chef. But, I can't walk through the kitchen without sniffing something and saying, hey, what beer goes with that? And we're always talking about pairings. I mean, that's beer without food. It's,
Yeah, we have a great chef. He's been with us for about 6 months. He came to us via Oregon, where he was out in the Portland area, and he decided to relocate to Ypsi, and he liked the challenge of the ale house because he could have just like Tim and Ted. A fair amount of flexibility on what to create, and
Very cool.
he has really jumped into it. And so we got these dishes. Part of his training is he trained as a chef in New Orleans, so he has kind of a Cajun orientation.
The po' boy
And the po' boy and
catfish,
the crab cakes
Yep.
and there's a few other dishes that he's got his imprint on. So. And you can see that, but our food is really pretty good, and we're carving a niche in that area.
Nice, very nice. You talk about the beer pairings as events. Do you guys have like regular events at the ale house? Like some things that we've seen that people from other guests on the show, beer and yoga seems to be a really big thing in southeastern Michigan. So it seems that's
paint and pour.
What's that?
Paint and pour.
Paint and pour. That's another one. So what do you guys have like events wise?
Travel writers conventions, food critics conventions.
Yeah, we have a fair amount of music. We also have some other activities that we work on, and we've done some events in Ypsi. We have this event called First Fridays, and so the first Friday of every month, the downtown area is open. So we have brought in. We almost always have a musical artist, but we also have then another type of artist in some form or another that comes in and shows what they're doing. We had one person who was doing a painting while people were coming through.
Okay.
We had a group that came in and did created T-shirts,
Right there in the ale house.
tie-dye T-shirts.
Really?
On the patio.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Over time, what we found is that groups will find the ale house because of the environment. So we have knitters who come in as a group. We have people who have book clubs there. there's like we have a night where just a bunch of gamers descend upon us.
Wednesday nights,
Yeah.
no music, just games.
They just hang out and game, and it's
That sounds like my kind of place.
Like video games or like board games?
Board games.
board games. Yeah. But yeah, the local people have just realized, oh, this is a cool place to hang out, and they just bring their crew, they put together tables and do their thing.
All right.
Yeah.
And our brewery has been, well, it's a historic hotel, that the Huron Hotel, built in
Okay.
1922, that used to be the tallest commercial building in town, and it's a landmark. And we have these gorgeous old tile and marble floors throughout. And so that's part of the ambiance.
That's something that you don't really see so much in, any building anywhere so much anymore, is that old historic feels. So do you think that that's, brought people that aren't normally beer drinkers, bring them into the brewery to see that historic appeal? Because we really don't see that kind of stuff anymore unless you go, A, you really got to look for it. B, it's probably some of it's still downtown, over by the Fisher Theater and some of the
Brewery
old-
Becker is one of the most beautiful
Yes.
Victorian breweries you'll ever walk into.
See a lot of nods on this table.
Yeah.
It is
Soft
the most
man.
gorgeous brewery outside of like New Glarus that I've ever been in.
Okay, all right.
I don't know how much he spent on that black wrought iron staircase, but man, it could have bought some fermenters.
I know how much he spent on that building, and it's more than I'll earn in a lifetime.
So I see every Sunday you guys have Sporkle Trivia.
Oh, really? Is this a thing again?
Sporkle Trivia, sponsor of the Better on Draft podcast,
Really don't care.
Surprise.
is there. You guys have them every Sunday night at 6:00, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we call that dinner trivia.
Dinner trivia. Do you guys get a lot of people coming out for trivia?
Yeah, we get a fair number coming out.
80 shilling.
It was kind of a slow on the startup, but it's moved to a point where we've got a regular group that comes in that's pretty good.
Pretty full house.
Yep.
Talking about the beer going around, guys. This is kind of a special brew. This was the first of our Brewer Series showcase. I know a lot of great brewers who are not pro brewers in the area in which we live. A lot of gold medal winners. So we started the Brewer Series showcase to bring in a person every 3 or 4 months to brew on a professional system where they can show the world what they can deliver. This beer that you're drinking right now won a gold medal in Michigan at the Michigan Beer Cup, and it also placed at the National Homebrewers Conference. The brewer of this, the original recipe came from a guy named Jim Satin, who's a friend of mine. And I approached him, and he was more than eager to say, hey, let's brew this on a pro system. So this is an 80 shilling, which is a style that you don't see much in southeastern Michigan. What you'll note in this beer is a big caramel bouquet as soon as it warms up, and it's pretty much dead nuts to style.
Hand off.
Hand it off. Hand it off.
And it's received rave reviews, and we've blown through a ton of it in a couple weeks. So
We have to brew it again next week.
Yeah, we have to brew it here very shortly just to keep up with demand on this particular beer.
The only other 80 shilling I can think of is Dragon Mead.
Yeah.
If
the
anyone
only
else can
other
think of
shilling beer that
anywhere
I know
else.
of.
But that's about it. So good.
I
It's
drank
very
the
good.
80 shilling, or said the Scottish ale, in Edinburgh, back in the early 1980s, and this is dead on.
This is good. Good job.
Yeah. Isn't this a great beer?
It was a pleasure brewing it with Jim.
And
And not only that, Jim is he's an engineer for power companies, so he's constantly working with like fossil fuels and stuff. This is a guy who, when we invited him into the brew house, he's like, just put me to work. So he was mashing, he was shoveling grain, he just got his hands dirty, and it was fantastic to see a guy who makes one hell of a living to walk in and say that, I wish I had your job, because he loved beer so much, and it's been a real pleasure for us to bring his beer to southeastern Michigan. And we also have a few other beers lined up
our next showcase.
for the showcase. The next one coming up, Classic American Pilsner. So the Classic American Pilsner is a style that was pre-Prohibition, and it dropped off the map after Prohibition. You never saw it. the guy who resurrected the style by going through old brewing books, he went through the books and made a homebrew recipe and published it in the early 90s. And since he published that recipe, breweries such as Labatt's and Coors and other breweries have picked up on this.
Yeah, I was going to ask, isn't like Miller Lite a true American Pilsner, allegedly?
No. Classic American Pilsner has a grist of about 25% corn. The rest is 6-row hops, and then you use American
6-row barley.
Yeah, 6-row barley. Excuse me. And you use American hops like Cluster and Mount Hood, stuff that was available pre-Prohibition. So Labatt's and Coors and a few others have picked up on this particular beer. So the guy who resurrected the style is brewing it in our alehouse, and that's the next one. That'll be in a couple weeks.
And with 6-row barley like that, you need the adjuncts. Otherwise, you've too high on your protein levels. With 2-row, you can get away with straight 100% malt, but with 6-row, it doesn't ferment.
So do you guys have a name for that beer yet?
Oh yeah, he when he published the recipe, he published it under the name Your Father's Mustache. So that's what it's been brewed at Grizzly Peak locally in Ann Arbor. He had no hand in brewing it there when Duncan brewed it, but Duncan used that name, and he wants us to use the same name when we release it.
Mm-hmm. He's a great Duncan over at Grizzly Peak is a wonderful brewer and great resource for us.
I'm always interested just because of beer names, because there was a very, very recent thing in the news in regards to Stone Brewing suing Miller Coors, I believe. And the reason I always ask, what the name of the beer is, because Classic American Pilsner is a beer that was brewed by Wolverine State right down the road from you. And the name of your beer is actually, or the name of Your Father's Mustache is a place in a brewery. So, like, in your opinion, like, have you guys ever sent to C&D? Have you guys gotten one back, like, for a name or anything like that? Is it like
have we gotten a what?
a cease and desist?
Oh no,
We're too small.
yeah, we're probably not on the radar on something like that. But
Have you tried naming a beer Bud Light yet?
yeah, I did want to do a dilly dilly, but
You heard all about the dilly dilly.
Was it going to be a pickle beer?
Ted, you made a pickle beer.
Yes, I did, but that was as a home brewer, and that's, when those plastic buckets that you get from Royce over at the Tower Inn are not properly, the flavor is sealed in the plastic, and it was a good pickle beer, but it was a mistake, and you want to do what you don't want to.
So what about a cucumber
A pickle
beer then?
Gosa, I think, could really take off.
Yes, I bet it would, and we do have the very best home in-house pickles that it's my recipe that we brew.
So you're not biased by any means.
No.
Nope.
Well, they're the only in-house pickles in town.
they're the best.
They are the best, though. Yeah, garlic dills.
So I kind of want to bring it back real quick to the BJCP before we go into the second break, because in regards to judging, and you brought up a point, and it was one of you two, I think it was actually you, and North Center Brewing over in Northville, Michigan, they have a slogan, and it says, "If you like it, it's a good beer."
Exactly.
And what was you say? You said like if you like
Louis Armstrong said, if it sounds good, it is good.
There you go. So as a BJCP judge, are you able to remove the whole "this isn't true to style" and enjoy an actual beer?
Oh, absolutely. I'm only hardcore on style when somebody says, that it's going to be a pecan peach porter, for example. Bringing it back a couple years to the Super Bowl. But
You're making a joke. I'm interested.
No, you're not.
A pecan peach porter?
No, you're not.
Give it to
Stop
me.
it.
The
The
3 Ps.
the ABV is 28.3.
But if I go into a brewery and they're calling out certain ingredients, I'm going to look for it. But I'm also going to go into a brewery and say, hey, this is one hell of a beer. And that happens all the time. You only break out the judging chops when you're judging or a brewer wants to listen to what you think as a judge.
How hard is it for you when you're trying to judge to take your personal opinion of maybe a beer that's really good and saying, well, it's not true to style? Like, is there a way like that you are able to cross that line, or is it something that it's just hard to balance?
If it's not true to style, you have to judge it as true to style. And on the style sheets, there's a section at the bottom where it has overall impression, and that's where you would make that known. It's like, this is one hell of a beer. I would love to have the recipe or a follow-up bottle, whatever. It's just not to style.
Is there a beer that you really, really love that you've judged that was just the furthest thing from style, so you couldn't even...
Oh, it happens.
Yeah, it happens. There's been a couple of honey browns that were more brown than honey that were just fantastic.
But still, you wouldn't rate them highly because they are not appropriate to style.
Exactly.
Enter it under a specialty beer or something. But if you're going to brew a style, brew it dead nuts to that.
Yeah, if you're going to enter it as in a judge competition. Because if you're not going to enter it in a judge competition, you don't have to worry about that stuff. Then it's a matter of what you're promising the customer when you write it out on a description, your 2 lines, that it's going to look like this, and it's just like the New England IPA. I mean, you got a reputation, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, becomes popular. Even if it's not in a class, in an official class.
But as a brewery, it's all in where you enter your beers. Like if you're going to GABF, for example, you got to be dead on to style versus here in Michigan, we have World Expo of Beer where they have like dark European beer as a style. So you can enter anything from a dark European standpoint. Mm-hmm. Anything from a Baltic porter to a dark mild.
Nor an ale
And they're not judged BJCP. It's based on whether the judge likes the taste of it or not. So it all depends on what you're entering as a competition.
What do you think about malternatives?
Malternatives. There are a lot of alternative fermentables that are...
Alternative fermentables?
Yes.
That sounds...
The cry goes up for no gluten beer.
Yeah. Well, there's no gluten, there's honey, there's all kinds of crap out there.
Are you talking like the
I'm talking like
hard,
not your
hard sodas and
father's.
stuff?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
No.
Different thing.
I tried the Not Your Father's. I thought you were talking about alternative fermentables.
No, malternatives.
Okay. When Not Your Father's root beer came out, everyone was raving about it. I had one. I'm like, okay, this is okay. Then I ordered a second one. I was like,
that's how I feel about root beer in the first place.
And I was like, I'm never ordering another one of these again.
Was it the diabetes that caught you, or
My feet are still tingling.
Type 2 creeping up on you.
yeah? Wilford Brimley's face is on the back.
I think
Diabetes.
those beers, quote unquote beers, air quotes here for the camera. Those are for, the people who have no idea what beer is, and it's good for a barbecue.
So
I don't know
not
if
your
I've
father's
ever had
Mountain
not
Dew
your
or whatever. Is
Mountain
that
Ale.
what we're- Oh, my bad.
Mountain Ale.
But that Mountain Dew idea, now there's a thought.
Unfortunately. Could be done.
So when you guys aren't brewing your beer and you're not drinking your beer, where are you guys going to get your beer out in Ypsilanti? Or anywhere, really? Are you guys going to another brewery? You going to a beer bar?
I'm going to, for example, in Ypsi, we are blessed with another brewery that's really decent. We also have 2 tap rooms that have 30 plus taps in Ypsi, and we're a very small town, so that's great. I also like to go to Ann Arbor because it's a 5-mile drive, and Ann Arbor is blessed with several brew pubs which are worth going to. Where I won't go are places like Hopcat, for example.
Real, there has to be. Is there something we can poke a little bit in regards to why you won't go to Hopcat?
I won't go to Hopcat because I've been to the Hopcat in Ann Arbor probably 10 times, and at least on 6 of those occasions, I've ordered a beer and they brought me the wrong one.
Really?
Yeah,
Too many taps.
Too many taps, and they don't know what they're pouring.
So wait, so you called out the bad, but I mean, as far as the good ones that you go to, what are some of those?
Oh, Cultivate.
Yes.
Cultivate is a home run.
Yes.
Sidetrack is typically a home run. I do wish that they'd shift it up a little bit more because like 20 of the taps never ever change.
Right, and I mean they're right next to each other, so it's kind of all right. Just walk across the street, see what Cultivate has. So, you know what? I think we need to step our game up a little bit.
Exactly. Well, obviously, we have that other brewery in town that's pretty decent.
You're right
Yeah.
down the street. Yep.
Exactly. You go downtown, you have the Beer Grotto, you have Bill's, you've got all kinds of fun stuff.
We sold probably more Blue Racer at the sidetrack last summer than we did in our own brewery because they really ran through it.
Yeah, about a barrel every
Like for
week or
Linda
two.
French.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love their burger, the Burger Mac Attack.
Yeah, I can't even remember what I ate. I was so exhausted, tired, and
I've been a sidetrack guy since I moved to Michigan about 6 years ago. And I was always thrilled about their burger until I had the burger at the alehouse. And this isn't a plug.
Right.
I mean, the burger at the alehouse, they serve you can make your own burger, but they have 2 specialty burgers there that will knock your freaking socks off. One is smoked, and the other one, the alehouse, is the one that is for me. It's got gorgonzola, and it's got bone marrow butter. It is just, oh my God. And you go to sidetrack, it's like, eh.
Oh,
But
that's a challenge.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to have to get up there.
At the sidetrack, I delivered beer in 1983 by the case down those old steps. Wow. They ran through a lot of bottles. When we started the Real Ale Company out in Chelsea, we could give away beer on the premises, but we couldn't sell it. It wasn't until the 1990s that they had the laws for brew pubs and microbreweries that were established. And so all beer had to be sold off premises. And so we sold a lot at the sidetrack even back then. And I walked in there. They renovated last year. But before they renovated, I walked down that same set of wooden steps, except a bit more decrepit that I had walked down like 35 years before.
They needed to renovate because those bathrooms, good Lord.
Oh.
So, since he's stepping back in history, have you guys heard of a brewery, little one here in Michigan called Bell's?
Yeah.
You may have heard of it?
Yeah, we made it right.
You know
rings
a little
a-
something about that, right, Ted?
Well, yeah, Larry Bell bought his first brew kettle from me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really?
Chelsea from the Real Ale Company when we liquidated. And he was actually, we were the only brewery in Michigan, in fact, in the Midwest, the first new one. And we had people coming in from all over, everywhere from Virginia Beach to all kinds of states, and maybe 10, 15 people coming in saying, I'm going to start a brewery. And one of those was Larry Bell. He rode his bicycle out from Ann Arbor. And, he spent a long time there. In fact, he spent so long there, he'd left his backpack and had to come back for it. But he needed this. I believe it's in his museum in Kalamazoo there, the 15-gallon brew kettle that we brewed the beer with back then.
Wow.
so he just
My
bought-
hat's off to him because he persevered, and hey, he didn't make any money the first 4 or 5 years.
I was gonna say, I don't know. Have you guys ever heard that brewery before? Bell's? Not familiar with it.
Nah,
They might have gone under since then.
Now, were they the founders of Michigan craft beer?
Oh, that pun was hard.
Oh, that was a really short joke.
You know what? The hell with you.
Not you.
He was making a reference to Shorts Brewing after the founders reference.
Wow, Nick.
Just
sensitive.
because every
Way to sell out twice.
with that in mind, folks, we are going to take a quick break, reset. We'll be right back. Better on Draft Podcast.
Forgive me, I might have just had a stroke.
It's a great story.
And we are back, episode 120 of the Better on Draft podcast, segment 3. YpsiAlehouse still here in studio, guys. We appreciate you coming on out. We are slamming your beers, that's for sure. We still have a few more we need to attend to, but I think you guys just opened one up. Which one did you open up?
The Ypsi Tickle. It's a 9.8 American Strong Ale.
Where did the name Ypsi Tickle come from?
Just sounded good.
That's what happens after you spend the night at the Brick Richard.
Good Lord.
The Ypsi Tickle at the Brick Richard. Sounds just... There's so many things. Anyways, as always with segment 3... Hi.
No, you're fine.
Yep. We have 8 in here, 7 without you.
There you go.
As always with segment 3, we have 5 questions with Matt Bush.
What's up?
Oh, are you setting up beer pong?
Oh no, it's
you
it's
setting
much
up
much
beer
worse. It's much worse.
And didn't you play a beer pong video game?
I did. Not a video game, an arcade game.
What?
A live
amazing.
action beer pong arcade game.
Oh my!
What? Did
So
you have like
amazing.
a ball that you would roll? and
No,
just-
no, 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 no.
not
You
like skee
threw
ball.
you threw a ping
You know, like
pong
where it's,
ball.
like, stationary, but
You're right.
Yeah, you threw a ping pong ball at an actual set of beer pong cups.
Is this like Papa Shot, but like alcoholic?
Kind of. So I was in Boston at Jillian's, which is right in Fenway.
Go ahead.
And they definitely had it was a giant arcade bowling alley pool hall, and they gave us they just allowed us like free play. So there was a beer pong. Oh, I think that's
I was trying to get out of that, but I
No.
smelled it and kept.
You don't get
passing.
out of that. Just let it.
so yeah,
sit.
so they had a beer pong arcade game where you actually threw ping pong balls.
Oh my goodness.
So
That is so wrong.
Matt,
Did it dispense beer?
it did not dispense any beer. It was a beer pong game in the sense to where it did everything except for give you beer. There was no beer in this pong game.
What the hell?
I think they have children that go to these places, so
They're starting them young, just without the sauce. So, question number 1 is always geography. The big thing in the news this week is, of course, the Olympics.
Yep. Allegedly.
So, just to show how irrelevant the Winter Olympics is, not the last time when it was in Sochi. Can anybody remember where it was 2 Olympics ago?
2 Olympics
Vancouver.
ago.
Vancouver.
Yeah, okay, fine. Maybe
Yeah,
you
we
guys
were
are
watching
little-
curling.
it's not that irrelevant.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, because Ken and I.
Me and
Dan
Dan.
is still there.
They forgot to light the cauldron in Vancouver.
I mean,
Did they?
They mistaked, yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Did you guys
Before
did you
that
guys
was,
see
or after that was Sochi.
Yeah.
the actual NBC sports page trolled everyone by doing where they're running up the stairs with the torch, and they continuously played like the same like 3 30-second steps running up for a good 6 minutes. Like it's just the same 30-second thing, and then it reset and it did it again, and everyone's waiting for them to get to the top. And
That's
That is
amazing. I
awesome.
didn't know that.
the official NBC sports
Wow.
page.
I was so hoping for a robot to light the cauldron in Pyeongchang.
There's been a lot
Yeah.
of companies trolling out there.
I was hoping for
lately,
Kim
if
Jong Un.
anyone
What are you
follows.
talking about? I wanted to watch him light the
Right.
damn thing.
There was a Kim Jong Un impersonator that got arrested.
Oh, that's funny.
that's right. I was like, I don't want. And then he kept
This
bringing.
light is brighter than anything in our country.
I'm like, I don't want to see his sister. I want to see him. Where's he at?
So I again went to the only place that no other man is willing to go, which is page 2 of Google.
Page 2 of Google.
Now, according to porchdrinking.com, yes,
This is
that
a web. Hold on. Hold on.
porchdrinking.com.
There's something there.
Are they based out of Kentucky?
Not legal. Porch drinking.
What do you mean porch
drinking?
drinking?
Porch
Porch what?
drinking for life.
Man,
So, porchdrinking.com did a Olympics and beer pairing. So they paired beers with the best Olympic sport to watch them with. 3 of these 4s were actually beer and Olympics pairing. 1 was not. I challenge you to figure out which one was not. Was it not A, men's ice hockey and Labatt Blue? Was it B, bobsled and Victory Java Cask? Was it C, figure skating and Weyerbacher Quad? Or was it not D, curling and Deschutes Mirror Pond Pale Ale?
Curling.
who drinks the shoots and watches curling?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the curling one.
I'm going figure skating.
No, there's a quad twist in figure skating. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
It's the second
But
one.
Yeah,
that
it's
is
B.
also pretty
B.
clever too.
Wait, the
so-
bobsled and hold on, bobsled and victory.
No, wait,
Actually, wait.
because if they're
Bob-
going down in a bobsled, they're kind of in a cask, so it's got to be D.
Bobsled.
Curling and Deschutes Mirror Pond Pale Ale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're all wrong. It is men's ice hockey and Labatt Blue. It's a craft beer
Damn.
website. So I just do that because
No one
Canadians, eh?
Well, the U.S. is already getting slaughtered. No
I
one's
mean,
watching. it,
My
okay?
question is, where's the ice box?
what the icebox.
My question
Exactly.
is, why,
Speaking
why-
of-
my question is, why aren't they drinking Red Stripe when they're watching bobsledding?
Hold on, did you hear?
Yeah, that's,
Wait,
that's
did
what I was
you
going
hear
to bring up.
Red Stripe had to buy the Jamaicans
Bought the Jamaicans
bobsled.
the bobsled, yes.
I would take their bobsled. I'd be
'cause-
like, screw you
Because
guys.
the coach would.
Could you
the
imagine
coach
if it was
quit.
made into a red
Their
stripe
white
bottle?
coach quit.
Well, we do have the
Frickin' John Candy.
Yeah, John Candy took the bobsled.
The bobsled.
this year we have the Nigerian women bobsleds team.
Yes.
And Guinness.
Seriously?
Guinness brews for Africa. In Africa, they're in Nigeria. Guinness brews there, and that's the Foreign Extra Stout is one of the best-selling beers in Africa. So why isn't Guinness supporting this particular team?
Because it's a Jamaican
No,
team.
Nigeria.
No, that's
Nigeria.
They're too busy
So I
trying
poured-
to get open up shop in Maryland.
So
That's
I
another story.
poured you guys all a great beer.
yeah, whatever.
On Beer Advocate is a 4.32 out of 5 to 9% ABV.
Wait, so this is 4.32.
Can you at least give me the music so I can just like try and placate this shit?
Oh yeah, let's. I can bring up the
The
music. Give me a
description
second.
is: look is light hazy gold with a creamy head.
Looks red to me.
Smell banana and spice. Taste jackfruit with pepper spice. Feel like cheesecake. But I'm liking it a lot.
Did you just say feel like cheesecake?
Absolutely. Warm stomach feel.
Can you say that again?
Wait a minute. All right. We already talk about mouthfeel and nose. Where the fuck does stomach feel come
This,
from?
this
With the
person who-
cheesecake.
This person who put it on Beer
Stomach
Advocate.
feel?
Yum. I love a triple, but this is not as hoppy as I'm used to. This is a wonderful beverage. I am very glad I got it and found it in a corner at my grocer. I probably could not drink a lot of these. Rich and alcoholic. I'd get sleepy. I would highly recommend this beer.
Who in the hell is looking for a hoppy triple? That's my question.
It just says
Sounded
hop.
like Wesley Willis lyrics that you just read.
I am sorry. I got fat at McDonald's.
Actually, hold on. This
I
is
have
actually-
cheesecake
This is actually
stomach
a
feel.
Twitter. This is actually a tweet. I have to change that.
This beer tastes like cheesecake. It makes my stomach feel yummy.
Can we just have
Banana
a full
jackfruit
Podcast
stomach.
of Rob reading beer reviews in this tile of Wesley Willis. That's it. New segment 4.
New segment.
So this is not a Michigan craft beer,
Not a Michigan craft beer.
but it is a craft beer.
It is
It
a
is
craft,
a craft beer. All right, hold on. Here we go.
It's an interesting way to put that. It is a craft. Well, it's a triple. We know that.
Yes.
Does it happen to be from Canada?
There's the banana.
Well, we get 3 questions total as a conglomerate.
Ah, okay. Didn't know the rules.
So, let's go with it because I think that's literally the question of we get the answer right if we know what it is.
Yeah.
Is this a Canadian beer?
Yes. How did you know I got Moosehead?
It's always nice when you
So-
shave your.
Well, we were
unibrow.
watching men's ice hockey, and we're like, hey, must be Moosehead.
It's
What
the
would
fin
go
of
good
the
was-
pie.
yeah,
It's the end of the world from Unibrow.
Unibrew.
Unibrew.
We had Bernard Johnson on here
Okay.
who told us how to pronounce it, and I still missed it like 6 times.
So I hate you. This usually takes a lot longer, so we're gonna have to waste a little bit of time. All right, so this 80s movie franchise recently announced it would be relaunched around its main characters, who will now pose as rival fathers.
Oh, that's the Cobra
Kid.
Kai.
Karate Kid.
Cobra Kai,
Karate Kid, really?
Yeah.
With,
Ralph
uh,
Macchio's like 53 or
Yeah,
something
so-
now.
Have
Yeah.
you seen him? He does not look 53.
Is Mr. Miyagi his rival in this?
Mr. Miyagi is a corpse.
Too soon, Daniel. Too soon.
He's actually
Mr.
he's
Miyagi
the sparring
is a
dummy.
saint.
They mummified him. He's a sparring dummy.
That's dark.
Oh my goodness.
I'd watch that. I don't know what you guys.
So Danny San is apparently a successful car dealership owner.
Oh, nice.
And William Zabka, the poet, is
The
a
poet.
down on his luck guy who, in an effort to revamp his life, restarts the Cobra Kai dojo. So
Sweep the leg, Johnny.
that's all we know.
The leg.
There is a little bit of the trailer where they meet in the center of the mat. So that'll be interesting to see how they do that.
I'm just waiting for 16 candles and Breakfast Club to get
48
remade.
candles because it's like
Right, exactly. Oh, for goodness sakes.
So I guess the last one is with the winter sports, Winter Olympics being on, which Winter Olympiad would you most want to be a part of, or which one would you least want to be a part of?
So, like, which sport I would like to play at the Olympics?
Yeah, like if you had to be an Olympian, a Winter Olympian, which sport would you most or least want to be participating in?
I wouldn't want to be
Why
in
not?
the luge
Okay.
because they're sissies.
Didn't someone die the other day?
Well, no,
Someone
no,
was
no,
dying?
That was Vancouver. That was Sochi.
No, this is like
That was
Georgia.
Vancouver, 2010. Yeah.
And
Broke
That's
his
by
neck.
Someone
Georgia.
didn't break their leg the other day?
that
No,
might have happened.
no, this Austrian snowcross yesterday
Yeah, he
broke
broke
his
his
neck, got up and finished the race, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, you broke your
I'm pretty sure
fifth
someone-
cervical
I'm pretty sure
vertebrae."
someone broke their leg on the luge the other day.
So
too,
wait,
like
so he
Tuesday.
finished it with a broken
They go down
freaking
feet
neck?
first.
They do.
That's not right. When I was a kid, we went down head first
called
and
the
had no
skeleton.
helmets.
That's called the
That's
skeleton.
skeleton.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
another
a
race.
skeleton. Hey, take
yeah.
off your helmet and go down like,
Ken, do you have a
Sissies.
Winter Olympic sport you'd like to or not like to involve yourself in?
So obviously, like the impulse, I was gonna say like slalom skiing because I do like to ski. But to be honest, I'd actually love to go curling one day.
There is a curling club locally.
There is.
There is.
Angela,
Yeah.
Out in
Angela, do you want to
Oxford.
talk into the microphone?
No,
and tell
there's
us
one
about
in
your-
Ferndale.
I'm interested in that jump.
No,
where
I'm
The
the-
ski jump? That jump, as we're now referring
So
to
you-
it
I was
as.
pretty mesmerized the other day.
That would be the one that I would least want to participate in. Flying
Good. I wasn't
myself.
looking to do any Olympics with you.
Okay. No mat train this week.
Not,
So
not,
I would.
No, that thing crashed.
we're not.
So that would be the one I would be most scared to do. I think whatever costume I was wearing would end up brown by the time I landed on
They're not
half round.
costumes. They're
on
like
the first
outfits.
unis, whatever. I think I would want a luge or even skeleton or bobsled.
Okay.
What about you guys?
For me, I could see myself curling, but I hate sweeping, so that wouldn't work.
You
I
do
th-
that
I-
at the brewery all the time.
I think bobsled would work because they have to have a big guy in the back to balance it out. And I
The
think
back is the brakes. You need to be in the middle then.
no,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the back,
Oh, yeah.
back's got to control the brakes.
yeah. You need a big.
Have you not seen Cool
It's the
Running
last
stuff?
guy
I was
to
gonna
put
say,
it.
is our knowledge of all knowledge of bobsledding from Cool Running?
You get to fight people at the
Entirely.
bar. I mean, that was a pretty intense fight scene in Cool Runnings
I've
at the
never
country
seen
bar.
it.
Oh, but yeah.
It's on
Wait, you've
Netflix.
never seen Cool Runnings?
She was like,
It's on Netflix. Go watch it.
Do you know who John Candy is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bunch of black guys. Rob will like this. A bunch of black guys beat up a bunch of European skinny kids. So,
pretty much.
yeah.
Wait, why would Rob like
Do
that?
you have a Winter Olympiad that you'd like to participate in?
Oh, I think it would be the downhill. Go like hell.
Oh, jeez.
But see, from your perspective though, on the jump,
Yeah, ski jump.
you wouldn't make it there if you were scared.
No, I would just be in the air, just freaking out, like flailing.
Imagine soaring. That would be a fun one too.
Everyone's
you could be Matt the
majestic,
Eagle.
And then you see Mac.
Right?
with a perfect telemark landing.
What I would look
Mac
like
goes
is
head first. Somehow
basically
nobody
every
understands.
kid who gets knocked off the blob at summer camp. That would be me flailing, coming down 140 meters.
Side note: Heavyweights is one of my favorite movies.
Oh,
Not that there's a men's movie she
Heavyweights.
saw. Rob,
See, now the downhill I could not do because for some of us who are old school, my mind immediately goes to the opening of ABC's Wide World of Sports and the agony of defeat.
Yes.
And that dude
Hitting
running
the
into the fence and breaking just about every bone in his damn body.
is that the guy who just head over skis over
It's
and over?
pretty
over again?
much, and he gets tangled up in the fence while he's still rolling down the hill. And it's just, I'm glad it just kind of cut it off at that point.
It's still better than a Sonny Bono.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
true. That's true.
Oh.
That dude did live. Unfortunately for Sonny, didn't work out.
Dan, what about you? I don't think you threw your 2 cents in.
No, I'd have to play hockey because it's the only sport I can hit someone in.
Yep.
The sport. The
You can
Winter
always-
Olympics are missing violence.
I mean, they got the
Speed skating?
biathlon, but I don't know
What,
if you want
shooting guns?
I don't know if you want to do that to people.
That'll definitely help your time if you shoot everybody else.
Yeah, shoot everyone else coming.
You can see them running around the corner
Wait,
of the
but then
lap,
I'd-
and you're like,
Then I'd have to ski,
go back.
so no.
Then I'd have to ski.
But they've got like bullet wounds in their knees.
No, but I'd
Or
still have to
both, rather.
ski, so no. That's
But then think of all the
terrible.
penalty laps you got to take after that.
They have pellets in their thighs. I'm pretty
Right.
sure they're done.
Just shooting pellets at people.
Whoops, my bad.
Just don't put the
I'm
skis on,
sorry.
run down the course, and just shoot at people as they come. That's a good sport.
That's it.
I'll shoot pellet.
That hasn't happened recently, so
Shoot pellet hops at them, then you're on topic.
Right.
Pellet
There you
hops.
go. There you go.
Yeah, T90s.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we need to do to the Olympics. We need to bring beer making to the Olympics.
Oh yeah, Olympic
It's a summer
whirlpooling.
sport.
Yeah,
Olympic whirlpool.
it's right after
Yeah.
sevens rugby is the beer brewing.
I'd be interested. I mean, they're gonna be having like esports in there in like 10 years.
I would like to see like an Iron Chef of brewing, where you're given a handful of malts and you just go at it.
You know, there are certain places that do that where they give you a secret ingredient and then you have to come back.
Kunin did that, I think, once.
I think they use like oh shit, what is that old grandma candies?
The Werthers?
Ribbon cans?
Werther's
Werther's?
original.
That was the secret ingredient.
I would use that in an 80 shilling in a heartbeat.
Werther's original in
Yeah.
80 shilling.
Yep.
What are we making?
An old crusty grandma beer.
Damn straight. Wipe it off with a lipstick napkin.
Oh.
So does that come with like a babushka on top? Is that how you present it with a babushka?
You get to drink it in your moo.
Just put rollers on the bottle.
I think we're getting way too deep into
I
this.
just-
So, YpsiAlehouse, where can they find you guys? You're in downtown Ypsilanti?
Yep.
What's
124
the-
Pearl Street. In downtown, just one block off of Michigan Ave.
Kitty corner to the titty bar.
All right.
Down the street from the
Is
bus
that how
station.
you give directions to people who call on the phone? Like, hey, where are you guys located?
I mean, I didn't even need the address. I know exactly where that is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, people will say, "Where are you?" And yeah,
I say right across the street from that great hardware, Ace Hardware with that historic building. They say, yeah. I say right down the street from the bus station, right across. And say, yeah. I say we're kitty corner from the titty bar. They say, I know right where you are.
Yep.
In reference to strip clubs.
and
the
it's also a
Deja.
reference to the first beer you drank tonight.
The Deja Brew, that makes total sense
What?
now.
Beer on tap at the strip club?
No, they fortunately they can't serve
Yeah,
any
they don't serve.
alcohol there,
Oh,
so
'cause
they have
it's
to
a-
come
it's
over
a-
to our place.
it's
So why
full
would
place.
anyone go there?
Yeah, because
It's a full service strip club.
it is, and all the beers would turn out sour, so you don't want
Nearly
that.
full.
Oh.
Yeah. With a little cheesecake too. Sorry.
And now we're derailed.
I was going to say, we went really far on that one.
Yeah, that's Matt's fault.
Damn,
So,
I'm dead.
where can they find you guys? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram? What are your socials?
Yep, all of the above. Though I don't think we've been doing much on Instagram. Our main avenues are the Facebook and also the web page is very convenient for people.
Untapped.
And we're on Untapped, and we're looking at some other places and where we can go. In fact, I could ask you guys where do you go to reference
Strip clubs.
beers? And strip
Yeah, I go to
clubs?
strip clubs that don't serve alcohol.
Obviously, I go to kittycornerofthestripclub.com to find all the places that are kitty corners of strip clubs.
I thought you went to Zatuna Liquor.
Well, Zatuna Liquor is a great place over on Rochester Hills, just south of M59 over in Rochester.
Hills.
Or on Rochester Road in Rochester Hills.
That's your spot.
I know. That's okay.
You're supposed to get that.
Jack will forgive me. Go check them out. They got plenty of beers there, including beers on tap. They can get growlers to go, and liquor, beer, wine, mead,
Best cigars in
cider.
the world.
Great cigars over there. Not a big selection, but a
They have
decent.
my favorite kind. That's all that matters.
What is your favorite kind?
It's a boys.
It's a Boys. You do know they actually make It's a Boys. Rocky Patel makes a brand of cigars called It's a Boys and It's a Girls.
Are they different tasting or is it just the wrapper?
I don't know what the base cigar is for the actual cigar.
You know, when
I'm
you,
lost.
yeah, so when you have a child and you give out.
Oh, so it's like pink or blue?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, it's a boy, it's a girl.
It's gender neutral now. It's gray.
Right.
Oh, no, it's brown.
It's a
That's
wait,
only when you're
what?
ski jumping while smoking.
Oh, snap.
Wow. That's right. We gonna go there, right? We gonna go there, right?
So it's brown or white now. I love the old school Keaton and Kel reference right there too. So any new beers coming out soon?
Yeah, we've got several planned out.
Can we
talk
talk
about
about
them,
the
Tim?
Ipsy?
Yeah,
We
we've
can talk about whatever you want.
We've
We got
got
8
the
minutes.
classic American Pilsner coming out, which I referenced earlier. I also am resurrecting a historical style, the Kentucky Common, and we'll have that on in about a month and a half. We have a release of an American Stout, which is super easy drinking at 5.7%, coming out on the 22nd. We have a Red Ale, which will be coming out next month for St. Patty's Day. And I think, between those 4 beers, that's like the next 3.5 months.
And the Kentucky Common, we're calling Ips. May I or not? Should I not say?
No.
Don't say. Okay.
It's
Well-
a secret.
Yes.
It's a secret. Is that the name of it?
But as I was driving here, I came by a truck. I was passing a beer distribution truck that said the beer from Bourbon Country, and on the side it said KentuckyAle.com. So it's an actual category, BJCP.
Yeah, the Kentucky Common is a historical recipe. There's 2 breweries in the United States making it right now, and I'm putting a little twist on it, making it true Kentucky style. We're going to add some rye in there as well. It's a pre-prohibition recipe, so it's 35% corn, 6-row hops, cluster.
6-row malt.
I did that twice tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, we got hops on the brain.
I do, yeah. Cluster hops and
Mount
Holler
Hood.
Tower. Or Mount Hood, yeah. It's a historical recipe, and it's going to be a rare bird because nobody in the United States outside of like 1 or 2 breweries in Kentucky are making it.
Is there was there a brewery like in Michigan that might have made this style beforehand? Like
No.
EMB
Not before
or-
Prohibition.
No.
Or not after, since Prohibition.
No, Kentucky Common is super, super rare right now. It's considered a historical beer category, and I have not had a Michigan brewery that's represented that beer yet. When I was in Kentucky back in September, I actually had to travel from Lexington to the southern part of the state to find a 6-pack of what was being represented down there today
If you
for the
can-
style.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for Better on Draft. I really appreciate you guys coming on out, giving us a little history lesson, a little knowledge, a little fun. Don't forget to check them out over in Ypsilanti, kitty corner to the strip club.
Kitty corner
To the titty bar.
Kitty
Sorry,
corners.
kitty corner to the titty bar. My bad.
Kitty kitty.
Oh,
Don't forget
new beer
to,
name.
New beer name.
New beer name.
Yeah, titty.
the Kentucky Titty Kitty.
Ooh.
No, because no.
Okay.
We have a name for it.
There's got to be a cousin in
Sorry.
there somewhere.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for us, Better on Draft Podcast. You can find us at betterondraft.com, Bod Podcast for Twitch and Untapped, as well as Better on Draft for the Twitter, the Facebook, and the Instagram. Don't forget to like our sponsors, Sporkle Live Trivia, Zatuna Liquor, North Center Brewing, and Brown Iron Brew House. And no matter what you think of your beer, we think it's Better on Draft.
Dang tootin'.
Have a good night.
Peace.